Hello, everybody. February 1st reading was from Exodus 7 through 9. And in Exodus 7, God tells Moses that he will make him like God to Pharaoh, and Aaron will be the prophet. God instructs Moses and Aaron to tell Pharaoh to let his people out of his country, his people being the Israelites. And he also lets them know ahead of time that he's going to harden Pharaoh's heart. He even tells them that the signs and wonders, they're going to be great and you're going to perform them easy peasy. However, Pharaoh still will not let the people go because God wants to extend his hand out with mighty acts of judgment so that Pharaoh knows without a doubt who God is and what God is capable of. So he's like, go there, perform these signs and wonders, and then I'm going to harden his heart, and then I'm going to lay out the mighty hand of judgment, and then, or the mighty acts of judgment, and then Pharaoh will let the people go. So they went to Pharaoh and they told him to let the people go. Pharaoh instructed them to perform a miracle, and that's when Aaron threw the staff turned into a snake. Pharaoh had like these magicians on hand and told them to come do the same thing. They did it, easy peasy. However, Aaron's staff, that's now a snake, ate the other snakes, or the staffs that turned into snakes. So his staff ate all the other staffs that are now snakes. And so I think that's significant that his staff that turned into a snake ate all the others. And it shows that God is showing them that even though they can do the same things, they can't really do the same things. So because the magicians was able to do it, Pharaoh was like, yeah, his heart was hardened. He's like, no. So then Moses tells him, well, I'm going to turn the Nile into blood and the fish will die. It'll smell really bad and the Egyptians won't have water. So Pharaoh's like, no, I'm still not letting the people go. And Moses did that. And then he had his magicians come and they were able to do the same thing. So Pharaoh's heart was hardened and he's like, yeah, no, I'm not letting these people go. Then we go into chapter 8. And in chapter 8, there's a plague of frogs. So frogs are everywhere, all over people's houses, all outside, annoying, everything. And Pharaoh's like, hey, can you get these frogs out of here and give us some relief? And Moses does help out and call upon the Lord to relieve the frog situation. And then once he got the relief, Pharaoh's heart was hardened and he would not let the people go. So then from there, Aaron stretched out his hand and turned the dust into gnats. So then gnats was everywhere. And this, oh yeah, for the frogs, the musicians was able to create frogs too, so he wasn't moved by that. But then for the gnats though, when Aaron turned the dust into gnats, the magicians were not able to do that, and they even said that this is the finger of God. And Pharaoh's heart was still hardened; he did not care. So then next was the flies, but not in Goshen. Goshen is where the Israelites live. And he had the flies go all over Egypt except for the area where the Israelites. It's kind of say like this has to be God, and he's not letting the flies impact the Goshen because that's where his people are. And so still Pharaoh's heart was hardened, but he did say, you can make your sacrifices to the Lord here. But Moses was like, that wouldn't work because the Egyptians will find our sacrifices detestable and they'll stone us. So we have to go take this journey. I think it was 3 days, this 3-day journey into the wilderness so that we can make our sacrifice to our God and then come back. I think he was planning to come back because he said it was just 3 days. And he's like, yeah, that's what we'll do. We'll go out there and then we'll come back. And Pharaoh's like, his heart was hardened. He agreed to let them go into the wilderness, but he said that they could not go far. And even though he said that they could go into the wilderness and couldn't go far, when Moses prayed for the flies to be relieved, for them to be relieved of the flies, um, he still didn't let them go. It was just like, dude, what are you doing? You said they can go, but they couldn't go far. But then once the flies kind of let up, then he's like, yeah, no, you can't go. So then in chapter 9, the Lord sent a plague to the livestock. So all of the Egyptian livestock died. None of the Israelites' livestock died. Again, that's him showing, like, I'm going to make sure that everybody is impacted except for the Israelites and my people who I have a hand on, who you should let go so that they can worship me, you know? But again, Pharaoh notices that, only his people are impacted by this, and he still is not letting them go. So God told Aaron and Moses to have Moses take soot from a furnace and to blow it or toss it into the air in the presence of Pharaoh, and it will become fine dust over Egyptians, causing festering boils. And so he tried to have the musicians do it, but the musicians were so impacted by the boils that they could not even perform what Moses had just performed. And still, his heart was hardened. Like, dude, come on. And then God tells him, okay, well, since you still not gonna let my people go, let Pharaoh know that I'm going to send the worst hailstorm ever, that anybody calling in is going to die. So the people who believed that brought in their animals and their slaves. The people who didn't believe that left their slaves and their animals outside. It hailed, and of course they hailed again. This was all over Egypt except for Goshen. God did not. But so far we have the staff to snake, the Nile to blood, the frogs, the gnats, the flies, the plague on the livestock, the boils, and the hail. So they performing a lot of signs and wonders, but Pharaoh's still not letting them go. So let's see what happens next.